First and foremost, that was a great battle. That had to be entertaining for people to watch. They're a really, really good team, and he's an excellent coach. Very good staff. John does a tremendous job, and what I'm most proud of our guys is the way that they prepared for this, and the extra work that they did, and especially with the film, and that they truly brought their practice game and the way that we practiced the last couple of days to the game. And I know there were runs that both teams made, and they had some big runs and things like that, but you want to get better inside of the game. Well, you want to get better inside of the week. And I thought after the game, Tuesday night with Penn State, we got better this week, and we brought it to the game. And there was the things to me that were the difference in the game for us. They're such a great free throw shooting team. You can't have needless fouls and put them on the line. And the fact that they got there 12 times, and you know they're going to make them. The key is that they didn't get there a lot. We made our free throws. We were able to win the rebounding game, which is very crucial. When you go on the road, it's crucial against anybody, but it's definitely crucial here. We took care of the ball against Quick. The last film that we showed them right before right when they came off the court before our pregame meeting, is we showed them just how Illinois, again, we led with this tape the other day, and we showed it again just how they stripped the ball, how many times they create turnovers just by attacking the ball. And I thought our guys did a really good job of taking care of the ball. Only have 9 turnovers, but the bottom line is we move the ball. And when we move the ball quickly, really good things happen. And I thought that our 2 high scorers were really the epitome of doing the other things. James to get 21, but James had 11 deflections. That's a big deal. That's what he's had. And it wasn't about steals today, it was about the deflections. He had 7 defensive boards, which means the break started 7 times with James. And the way the ball moved, that he's the beneficiary of that ball moving, and him moving it, and him coming off screens and spotting. And Troy the same way. Troy has 9 boards, he has 11 deflections. He's running the court. His roll game, rolling, really improved in the second half. And those 2 played 94-foot games because they defended. They were very good offensively, but they moved the ball. And when those guys do that, along with Yogi and Robert and the other guys, that's the way we have to play. And then we keep the game in movement. We're not a team that can just go and just throw it down to the low post every time and demand a double team. We need that kind of balance. And I think Troy and James right there showed the kind of complete game those guys are really trying to develop. Well, the guy's got a pretty complete game as Yogi, because we asked him to do a lot. We asked him to play both ends at a very high level. He's at the front of the scouting report so many times because he does so many things, and the way that he moved the ball inside of this game, and the leadership. It wasn't about the fact that he didn't make a lot of shots, it's about the fact the way that he led. And that was very impressive for us. So we've got to have that kind of play, because when you're playing against a team like Illinois that can put so many guys on the court that can not only get to the rim, but they can shoot the mid-range, they can shoot from 3, they space. Egwu, to me, is as versatile and as valuable and as mobile as about any big I can think of, because it's not about the points that he scores or the rebounds that he gets all the time. It's about the action. It's about how he covers so much ground. It's about how good he is at multiple efforts, and not to mention what he does, with shooting the ball. So we're excited about the win, excited about the fact that they carried out their preparation, they carried out their practice, and the big thing for us, number 1 key on offense was move the ball 1 dribble sooner rather than 1 dribble later. And as simple as that sounds in a college basketball game, when you got guys that can score, that's easier said than done. But they did it. They did it, and that's why we had such good movement and got guys shots, and were able to get our confidence up early in the game with the offense, which made us a better defensive team with the exception of none. And we're able to carry on and get through the runs in the second half.
First question.
Tom, when you got a game that's just kind of swinging the way that one was, back and forth, how do you talk a team through that, or was this team handling some of those momentum shifts the way you needed them to?
Oh, I thought our attitude was great. I didn't think we got down. We had a little low. We went to the bench in the second half, and we couldn't stay with that very long. And the old theory of play on demand wasn't as high as it needed to be at that point. But the way that we played last 7, 8, 9 minutes, I mean, we didn't go as far into the bench, but those guys really played. It was a lot of different things going on in the game, right? So once they adjusted to something, you've got to be able to go to something else. And because the ball was moving, the screens were good, the cutting was good, the spacing was good, you were able to do that. But I'd like to think that the way these guys are coming together defensively, especially the Ohio State game, the way we closed that, and the Penn State game, the last 2 possessions of the game, our whole thing to them was, we've got to play more, and not everybody will have seen this, but the last couple possessions of the Penn State game, we were really, really good. I didn't even call timeout, didn't make any switches, nothing. Those guys were really good, you know, and they're gaining that confidence. And we needed to have more possessions like that tonight. Well, I think we got them. There were some we didn't because they made shots, and we've got a lot of corrections to make there. But bottom line is, they're growing up because there was such a good togetherness on both ends of the court. You know, they were connected defensively, and we were really connected offensively.
Coach, the other night against Penn State, you had the big contributions off the bench from Robinson and Burton, I think. Today it was Zeisloft and Hotzel, especially in the first half. Just talk about what your bench has been giving you.
Well, Nick showed great leadership the entire way. And, you know, certainly if there's one guy that wanted to come to Illinois and play well, it'd be Nick Zeisloft. And really proud of him. I mean, he came in, and our challenge is him. It's not the shooting, it's the other things. It's the getting people open. It's the rebounding. You know, using his body to keep people from the glass and to get offensive boards. And for him to get the first couple threes, I think it was, to go down, was a great confidence builder for him. And it was actually kind of cool that he got to close the game. I'd like to see him make both free throws, but at least he made the last one. But Nick is capable of being a starter here. Max is getting better all the time. It just comes down to consistency, you know, for everybody, but especially when you're coming off the bench, you've got to have that consistency and get them to understand their impact in the game so many different ways. It doesn't matter if you're a starter or sub, you got to impact the game with the things that make your teammates better. And so, you know, everybody wants to score. I mean, it's the bottom line. Can you set people up? You know, can you keep moving without the ball? I thought the fact, there's a couple of times that really stick out to me, you know, where a week ago, 2 weeks ago, James would have waited for the ball to come rather than cut, create an opening for somebody else to get it, and maybe the receiver on the other side. That's the kind of stuff James needs. Sometimes when you just play in the game, okay, and you can score the way he can, you create other scoring opportunities for somebody else just on a simple cut. And all of a sudden the ball gets reversed, and there you are standing wide open for a three. You know, those are the learning things that you want. Well, Nick is the same way. Nick needs to continue to understand that. So our bench is, you know, we look at it, you're in the game, you're in there to impact the game. And they may be coming off the bench, but those minutes are as valuable as anybody else's, and to give us the most that they can possibly give, you know, with on both ends.
Anything else for Coach?
Illinois had multiple big scoring runs. How do you balance letting your players play through it and figuring out themselves versus on a timeout and being, you know, energized off the bench? Just how do you balance what have you?
I think go by feel. I think it's I start to see that head drop, well, then I'm on sub and we're going to have to call timeout. But if the head drops, then we're confident. You know, our guys, they play with confidence. Illinois has a lot of confidence, and we knew we were going to have confidence. We couldn't come in here and not feel like we couldn't, you know, win the game, right? I mean, so the bottom line is, I keep saying it, the way we practiced and prepared, and the fact that guys, younger guys, I mean, there's James Blackman a couple times a week now watching extra film that's not required of, you know, just in the office watching film. Or Robert Johnson, that's how you grow up. You know, that's how you grow up, because you can't, you got to have the confidence before the game starts, right? That's where your preparation and all those things come in. And you just have to read it in the game. You just have to read it and try to balance it with giving guys some rest when you think they need it, because you know it's going to be, you know, a tough ending. You know, with the sense you're going to have to maybe shorten the bench at the end because a couple guys didn't come in and do as well. You know, there's a lot of things you're thinking about, but when you're watching them and they're playing with confidence, I'm not going to call too many timeouts.
Last question, Alex.
India, I think, has 28 or 29 timeouts. Not only 9 timeouts, but they can play. How do you see him evolve, I guess, as a more of a point guard this season?
Leadership. We're asking a lot of him. I mean, there's some days he has the ball in his hands, or some days he's taking, or sometimes, I should say some days, sometimes in the game he's taking the ball out of bounds and he's in the trail position. It's all about moving him around. You know, when you have guys that like Yogi that can do so many different things, The key is to make sure they understand they can do a lot of different things. The number one thing Yogi's got to be as a leader, whether he has the ball in his hands or not, whether we're on offense or defense. His presence, his command presence has got to be huge. And it's not as much the verbal sometimes, it's just them seeing the confidence level. And I thought he did a really good job of understanding that the quicker that ball moved, the better we would be. Because when he understands it, everybody else is going to come before us to understand it. And that's when we're at our best. So I've seen him evolve in that area. He can get to the rim. I thought he played through some contact today, and he didn't quit attacking the basket, which is a very tough person. You know, sometimes you go into the rim, you think you should get the call. You don't go as much. Well, he kept going, you know, and he kept attacking. But his eyes are up. He's seeing people. The spacing is good, and he really enjoys playing with his teammates and he enjoys competing with them. And again, I mean, we have tremendous belief in what he can do defensively, because then guys like James and Robert, those guys can look at it and say, we're asking him to do this on the other team's best player, second best player. Man, I got to do my part. And so I think it's the improvement in the way he's playing is helping guys like James and Robert understand more about, you know, what's needed and how important it is to really, really stay committed, you know, to the coverage defensively, or, you know, to the early help, or, you know, playing the ball but also seeing their man, and all those type of things. Because when he gets scored upon, he takes it very personal. And I think that's something that younger players can feed off of. So he's growing in a lot of ways, and here again today, I mean, he's the happiest guy. I mean, would he like to score more? Would he like to shoot better? Absolutely. But he impacted the game on both ends in a big way. So he's very happy with it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mary Ann's Diner, home of the world-famous Diner Stack, now has a third location next to Cranard Center in Urbana. The same fast, friendly service, the same free Wi-Fi, and the same great food, all right in the middle of campus town. Now, no matter where you are, there's a Mary Ann's nearby, anytime, day or night. Mary Ann's Diner, down home cooking with small town prices.